The Weatherlight Saga. It is Magic the Gathering's first great epic, a story that spanned 4 years, nearly a dozen sets, and 2 different worlds. It's a classic fantasy quest, a flying ship, a crew of flawed heroes, a set of ancient artifacts known as the Legacy, and a quest across the multiverse to stop a dark god of metal and flesh. It's the story of Gerard Capuchin, the lost heir pulled back into a fight he never wanted. It's the story of Captain Sisse, the leader who united the crew, kidnapped by the villain Volrath. It's the story of Karn, the gentle silver golem, the living heart of the crew, and the keeper of the legacy. It's the story that defined a generation of Magic. And in June 1997, it all began with the set Weatherlight, which was, well, by most accounts, it was a failure. That's the great contradiction of the Weatherlight set. It was designed to kick off Magic's most ambitious story, but it was a commercial and mechanical letdown. It was a set so disconnected from its own plot that the main characters weren't even in it. The set promised us an epic, but the cards told a different story. So today we're talking not about the story you think you know, we're talking the story that actually was. Per the angle of this series, forget the crew, we're looking at the cards that mattered, the decks people actually played, and how this narrative prologue was a mechanical orphan, caught between 2 of Magic's most legendary blocks. To understand what went wrong, you have to understand what Magic's design team R&D was trying to do. By 1996, Magic was in a groove. The Mirage block had just established the modern 3-set structure, and for the first time, sets were being designed with booster draft in mind. But R&D, led by Mark Rosewater, had a problem. The game's structure demanded they change worlds every single year. How could you ever tell a sweeping, ongoing story if you had to hit the reset button every October? The answer came from a design document, an internal proposal pitched by Rosewater and writer Michael Wright, literally called the Weatherlight Report. The idea was simple but brilliant. They would build the story around a band of adventurers archetype. The cast would be a core group of heroes, and their vehicle for moving between Magic's new planes, a flying ship, the skyship Weatherlight. They were going to tell Magic's version of Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. But a hero's journey has to start somewhere, and the Weatherlight set, that was Chapter 1, the call to adventure. You see, the actual plot of the Weatherlight set is quite short. Here it is. The captain of the ship, Sisse, is gathering the legacy artifacts. The villain, Volrath, a shapeshifter who rules the dark, artificial plane of wrath, kidnaps her. That's it. That's the set. The entire story of the Weatherlight expansion is just the old crew, like the Minotaur Tongarth, going to find the ex-crew member, Gerard Capuchin, and saying, "Hey, your friend was kidnapped. You have to come take command of the ship and rescue her." The real story, the journey to Wrath, the rescue attempt, the battles, all of that was being saved for the next block, Tempest. The Weatherlight set was just a 167 card prologue. The story wasn't yet. This created a very strange situation for players. Imagine it's June 1997. You're hyped. You've read the stories in the Duelist magazine. You buy a starter deck of Weatherlight. You rip open the boosters, fanning the cards out, looking for the main character of this new epic saga, Gerard Capuchin. And you search, and he's not there. Gerard Capuchin, the protagonist of the Weatherlight saga, does not have a card in the Weatherlight set. Okay, you think, that's weird, but the story is about rescuing Captain Sisse. She's the one who was kidnapped, so I'll look for her card. She's not in the set either. Karn, the silver golem, the heart of the crew? Nope. Squee, the immortal goblin mascot? Not here. The set named Weatherlight, which launched the Weatherlight saga, contained almost none of the Weatherlight crew. It would be 4 years before players got a card for the main hero. Gerard Capuchin finally appeared in the 2001 set Apocalypse, and after all that waiting, the hero of the multiverse was a 5-mana 3/4 that gained you a little life and could tap 1 creature, but only if he was attacking. For years, this card was a joke. It was ranked as one of the absolute worst cards representing the original crew, called laughable and bland by players. Captain Sisay's first card wouldn't appear until Invasion in 2000. Karn's first card, Karn's Silver Golem, wasn't printed until the next block, Urza's Saga, in 1998. The Weatherlight set was a story with no characters. It was all set up and no payoff. So if the crew was missing in action, what was in those booster packs? As it turns out, Weatherlight wasn't a story set. It was a toolbox, and the tools it provided would go on to define competitive Magic. But first, it's a long wait for a hero. Which original printing of a Weatherlight crew member do you think is the most disappointing? Is it Gerard's letdown card? Or the fact that Squee's original card, Squee Goblin Nabob, was just a 3-mana 1/1? Let us know in the comments below. So let's talk about the real legacy of Weatherlight. If the story cards were a bust, the utility cards were some of the most powerful and unusual designs Magic had ever seen. The set's real identity wasn't Hero's Journey, but brutal efficiency. While the set's legendaries were nowhere to be found, a common card from Weatherlight would go on to define a championship winning deck. This is Imperial Armor, a simple white enchantment for 3 mana. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand. This was the I win button for a deck called White Weenie, piloted by MacLeod to win the 1998 US National Championships. Here's how it worked. The deck was full of cheap, efficient white creatures. Many of them, like Soltari Priest, had Shadow, meaning they could only be blocked by other creatures with Shadow, which in 1998 was almost none. So you'd play a 2/1 unblockable creature, then on turn 3 you'd cast Imperial Armor on it. With, say, 4 other cards in your hand, your unblockable 2/1 was suddenly a 6/5, then a 7/6, then an 8/7. Opponents reportedly lived in fear of this combo. It was a game-ending threat on turn 3 from a common. Weatherlight introduced some of the most high-skill, game-swinging instants ever made, such as Firestorm. This card is wild. For 1 red mana, you discard X cards from your hand to deal X damage to each of X different targets. If you had 3 cards to pitch, you could kill 3 of your opponent's creatures. Or you could kill their 3 creatures and deal 3 damage to them. Or you could discard your entire hand to wipe the board and kill your opponent from 10 life. It was an instant speed board wipe and a finisher, all in one. It was a key component in Brian Selden's 1998 World Championship winning deck, Cali Nightmare. And as a little nod to the story that was there, the flavor text on Firestorm is from Squee the Goblin, mourning a friend. Glock loves storms. I miss him. Beyond just winning games, Weatherlight's most memorable cards were the ones that just stopped your opponent from playing Magic. This set was the birthplace of some of the game's most infamous stacks, or resource denial pieces. And the king of them all is Null Rod. This is, to this day, one of the most valuable cards in the set. It's a 2-mana artifact that says, activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. Maybe this doesn't sound like much, but in Magic it's massive. It doesn't stop just one card, it stops all of them. It turns off Moxes, turns off Soul Ring, it turns off Cursed Scroll, it shuts down entire decks. It's the ultimate fun police card, and it came from Weatherlight. And if Null Rod stopped artifacts, Peacekeeper stopped combat altogether. For 3 mana, this little 1/1 creature says, no creatures can attack. That's it. As long as it's on the battlefield, the attack step just doesn't happen. It had a cumulative upkeep, meaning it got more expensive to keep every turn. But for a control deck, it was a hard stop to any creature-based strategy. Finally, Weatherlight's true genius wasn't just in its no cards, but in its subtle, brilliant engine pieces, such as Gaia's Blessing, an unassuming, uncommon sorcery. It lets a player shuffle 3 cards from their graveyard back into their library and then draw a card. It's alright, but not what makes it famous. The second line of text is what matters. When Gaia's Blessing is put into your graveyard from your library, shuffle your graveyard into your library. With that one sentence, this card becomes the ultimate defense against mill decks, decks that try to win by emptying your library. If your opponent milled this, your entire graveyard got shuffled back in, and they had to start all over. For many years, this was the anti-mill card. It was also a key combo piece, allowing for infinite loops in decks that could mill themselves. And you can't have a good set without good lands. Weatherlight gave us Gemstone Mine. The land was all about speed. It came into play with 3 mining counters. You could tap it and remove a counter to get 1 mana of any color. After 3 uses, it was gone. This was the perfect land for aggressive, multicolored decks that didn't care about the late game. Jacob Slimmer ran 3 copies in his prismatic black aggro deck that took him to the 1997 World Championship. It was pure fast mana. So, for pro players, Weatherlight was an arsenal. We've shown our picks for the real legacy of Weatherlight, but what card did we miss? Is it the graveyard-filling Buried Alive? The flash-enabling Winding Canyons? Let us know your pick for the set's most impactful card in the comments. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into Magic's history, make sure to hit that like button. So that's Weatherlight, a set with a profound identity crisis. As a story, it was a prologue that famously forgot to include its own main characters. The Weatherlight saga was a brilliant idea that would go on to define Magic, but the set itself couldn't deliver on the promise. As a game piece, Weatherlight was a toolbox of efficient and brilliant designs. It gave competitive players the tools, but not the story. And those tools, Null Rod, Firestorm, Imperial Armor, Gaia's Blessing, would shape the metagame for decades. It was a narrative beginning and a mechanical dead end. If you want to see more deep dives into Magic's history, not just the stories Wizards wants to tell, but the stories the cards themselves tell, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell. The Weatherlight set was just the beginning. The crew, now led by Gerard, sailed to the hellish plane of Wrath, and the Tempest block and their epic story truly began. But the crew was on a quest for the Legacy, a set of powerful artifacts. Artifacts built by one man, the Planeswalker who started it all, Gerard's creator, and the man who would stop at nothing to defeat Phyrexia, Urza. In 1998, Magic decided to tell his story. They released a block so powerful, so filled with fast mana and broken artifacts, that it made Weatherlight's design look tame. It destroyed the metagame. Join us next time as we try to survive Combo Winter.